felt a bit guided to me, a bit magical.
I'm sort of going through a Kafka-esque kind of Shakespearean flashback, and it's
the public
it's really none of your
isn't
concern.
stupid.
That, you know, they've been through that. I recognize that. I know that person. I've been there.
I always thought it was a hilarious thing, sort of like watching a TV show and going, oh, wow. I don't know, I guess.
I think that answers your question.
About 6 inches of me was removed. I understand.
What was the question?
Would you describe yourself as an ambitious person?
Too ambitious sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, my trouble is I want to do everything. In 1957, my mother thought I was a little girl. But that summer I discovered life, rock and roll, and love with a boy named Brownie Hanson. Delinquents was real. It was Australian. It was a nice emotional storyline. And the character Lola, there was a lot that I could do with her. I mean, you know, it was over a three-year period, and she really matures and develops throughout it, which is great. You know, it just meant the movie was more challenging for me.
Can you tell our viewers a little bit about the character of Lola?
Lola, she starts off as a 15-year-old. She's a little naive. She's I guess a bit. She doesn't want to be where she is. I mean, she hates being a small-time sort of country girl, and I think she just doesn't want to grow up to be like her mother, which is sort of an alcoholic that plays piano in bars. So over the course of 3 years, I mean, she becomes, or her inner strength comes out. She's very determined, very headstrong, very passionate and romantic. She's very intelligent too. So, I mean, she goes through a lot of changes throughout the storyline, but, I mean, I really feel for her. I think she did a good job.
Talking about changes, it's a real change of image for you, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. People, I guess, are in for a bit of a shock, but, I mean, it's been written in the paper as exactly what it's not. I mean, you know, they're just being sensational again, writing without having seen the film. But, yeah, and I mean, I keep having to say to people, it's not me, it's Lola. It's a character playing, or a character that I'm playing. But, yeah, I mean, the whole movie is really different for me.
Here she is. Come on, Lola, we're going home. Lola! Get your hands off! Brownie, do me!
I mean, it deals with some delicate issues, but I think they're dealt with in a good way. And they're not there just for the sake of it. They are very important to the storyline. I mean, namely, it's, you know, teenage sex, but, you know, that's really crucial. That's the story is about, these kids growing up and learning about themselves.
Were you nervous at all about making your cinema debut?
Yeah. I relaxed into it as I did the movie. The first week I thought everybody hated me. thought, oh no, this film's going to be dreadful. Oh, the crew think I'm horrible. And I mean, the first week everyone is getting to know each other anyway, so it's a matter of getting used to each other and just settling in. But I mean, I just couldn't, I didn't have time to waste being nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, now I wouldn't say I'm nervous. I mean, I'm aware that I could be up for a lot of criticism for the film, but I don't want to worry about it because I just don't have time for it. And I know it's there, I know it can happen, so I'm not really scared of it. If it happens, I mean, I'll just have to say, oh, well, better luck next time.
How would you compare the experience of working in a weekly soap opera like Neighbours and then working on a feature film?
Oh, it's so much different.
Mm-hmm.
It was like chalk and cheese. It was great doing something with a start and finish. I mean, that was good enough for me. Let alone being a great storyline, having a great director and great actors around me. You know, it was just wonderful. And it was something, it was just what I wanted to do because I didn't want to do anything that involved singing or anything that was kind of stylized like my videos. I mean, I'm like a Grease, you know. That's what I think a lot of people are expecting, which of course is nothing like that. I just wanted to do some real acting.
There wasn't any pressure at any stage to make Lola a singer so we could get a lot of Kylie songs?
It was suggested, and I just said, no, I mean, you know, it's not Lola.
It must be comfortable to know where the character is going, as you say, having a start and an end, because on Neighbours, I'm sure the script just went through so many changes.
And nobody knows what's around the corner. And I don't look down at series because they're important, and I have a strange analogy for it, but it's like, I always say, if it wasn't for short people, there wouldn't be tall people. And if it wasn't for soaps, there wouldn't be, you know, A-grade films. There has to be some kind of level or distinction. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to do a soap again, but I don't regret my time in a soap because it was a really good learning experience. But I've got the taste for films that I would like to do more.
How did you feel when you finished on Neighbours after 2.5 years? Were you sad at all?
At first I screamed. I mean, I remember my last scene was with Jason Donovan and Anne Charleston, and yeah, cut, fine. I screamed and then I burst into tears. I'm like, oh God. So it was mixed emotions. I was really glad and relieved that I was finished, but I didn't know where I was going, and you know, Neighbours was so secure for me, and I was stepping out into the big world, and I was releasing a record, and I didn't know how it was going to go, if I'd be out of work in 6 months or whatever. So I was nervous as well.
I tried to find you. Looked everywhere.
So hard, Brownie.
Got a fever. So, she's a friend of yours?
Yeah, she helped me get this job.
Before that? I mean, what'd you do to eat?
Try and talk some of them into buying dinner for us. Well, you do what you can, don't you? Look, I drink them under the table. Is that what you want to know?
No, what I want to know is why...
I know what you want to know. You've got no business asking if you're not here.
How do you cope with such a punishing schedule with the recording sessions, the TV, movies, and travelling all the time?
It's really difficult. I just try and sleep and eat and take care of myself, which is really basic, but even that's kind of hard to do at times because you've got to rush around, or you're not in a place where you can get, you know, something nutritional to eat. Might be a packet of chips or something.
Do you find it difficult to have a private life anymore?
Yeah, it's quite difficult. I mean, a lot gets written. So much is true and so much isn't true, which doesn't really worry me because you know, today's newspaper is tomorrow's fish and chips when it's bad. It's like, there's no point getting angry and uptight and sort of really bitter about it. I mean, you've got to move on.
But when you've got time off, do you feel you have to almost disguise yourself if you want to go out in public and have a good time?
I would hate to think that I will ever have to do that. I mean, you know, I put on a hat and I put on sunglasses and put my hair back and try and look inconspicuous. Doesn't work at all. I can't believe it. Sunglasses do nothing. But, you know, people are amazed. They say, well, you wouldn't be able to go out anywhere. I say, yes, I do. I go to the movies, I go to the beach, I go out and have coffee down the road. I do what everyone else does. I mean, I kind of have a sixth sense about, you know, I'll be walking along the street and I can say to my friend, oh, someone's going to come over in a second. They'll go, where? Oh, that person over there. I mean, you kind of have a sixth sense to be aware of what's going on around you. And, you know, I know I wouldn't go to a certain place at 3:30 when school's out. But I do what everybody else does. I still am able to live a life.
Because you've been the subject of so much media interest, I believe that when the Delinquents were shooting, that there were photographers sneaking out of the set and climbing up on trees and rooftops, trying to sneak some pictures.
Yeah, they got some too. I mean, they're pretty sneaky. But again, I mean, I try and turn it into a bit of a game. And I can give as good as I get most of the time. And I used to be pretty naive about it all and kind of like, oh, I better give the photographer a picture, you know, he's been waiting out in the cold. And then I see the pictures like being sold as, it's on a doona cover or something, or a duvet cover, you call them. It's like, oh my God, you know. So, I mean, I just know more about the dirty business.
What are your views on, say, the tabloid press who've printed every imaginable rumour about you at this stage?
Yeah. I've been an alien, I've been died of starvation. No, the reason I'm anorexic, which I'm not anorexic, is because during a previous life I died of starvation during the potato famine. Irish viewers will like that one. I mean, it's just like crazy.
Were you surprised at the huge success of Neighbours, especially internationally?
Yeah, I remember in the green room, the cast was there, and we heard that Neighbours was being shown in England, and we thought, oh yeah, right, probably a few housewives will get to see the show. But, and then we were hearing reports that, you know, doctors' surgeries kind of had to change their hours because, like, the secretaries had to watch Neighbours because it was on at midday. And kids were like getting to school late or leaving school, whatever. And we were getting really excited, but we had no idea that it would take off. I mean, now it's around Europe as well.
And how would you explain its appeal?
Its appeal is that it's pretty normal and the characters are easy to relate to. Yeah.
So it must have been the icing on the cake for you then, to having had such a success on television, to develop a separate career as a recording artist.
Yeah, I mean, that was difficult. I mean, obviously it took a long time for people to accept me as a recording artist. And of course when I had my first single out, I was like, so popular person to releasing a record.
That was The Locomotion, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Seems like a long time ago now.
Yeah, wow, God, 2.5 years ago. So, you know, it was difficult, and it wasn't like an overnight thing either. But it's worked out.
What prompted that move into recordings?
It was just suggested to me. I'd liked singing for a long time, and I actually had a demo tape, which no one's ever heard. It's really funny. When I was 16, I did it, and
what was the song?
It was "Dim All the Lights," Donna Summer, "New Attitude" by Patti LaBelle, and I can't. Oh, "Just Once" by Quincy Jones. They were the 3 songs I did, and I you know, did a demo, sort of put my money into it, and it was a real kind of risk to take. So I just wanted to put that, you know, if I got a job acting, or I gave it to my agent, and I said, oh, if anyone needs, you know, they'd want someone that can sing for a role or something, well, here's my tape. Mm-hmm. So it's really funny to think of those beginnings.
You have such a large following now. Do you feel any sense of responsibility, especially to your younger fans?
I know there's responsibility, but I don't want to. I don't have it like hanging over me like a dark cloud. Mm-hmm. You know, I know there's. I guess I'm kind of like a role model, as much as I hate saying that word, to a lot of kids.
And that is a responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know. I mean, I have that in the back of my mind, but I don't sort of go, you know, oh God, I shouldn't be wearing cut-off jeans because the kids, you know, their parents won't approve, or, you know, I don't let it get to that stage.
Do you think some parents will be a bit put off by the Delinquents because of the adult themes it deals with?
Possibly, yeah, but, I mean, I would hope that people can distinguish between me and my character. You know, that's common sense, although it's amazing how many people can't do it. You know, they can't. I mean, they look at someone on the screen and they think the person is like that. It's a bit of a shame, really. I mean, I guess that in one way it's good because they're believing you're acting, but that's what people have to remember, is that that's Lola, that's her life, it's not my life.
Where are my letters from Brownie?
Excuse me? What are you talking about?
You've been stealing my mail. Now, where are the letters?
I really don't know what you're talking about.
We cut the bull, Auntie. The postman's been delivering mail addressed to me and you've been keeping it. Now, where are the letters?
To tell you the truth, dear, I don't know exactly where they are. Only that they've been disposed of for your own good.
Disposed of? You've been throwing them away? You tell me. Tell me or I'll smash every dish in this prison and sit out before I spill something on your head. So what's it going to be, Auntie?
Brownie Hanson was instructed by the court to avoid contact with you. My definition of that includes written contact. I was simply carrying out the court's wishes. Now, please, put down that cup.
Your definition? It's lucky the world isn't made according to your definitions, because it'd be an ugly one. We all cake and frosted linoleum and no love. Because that's the thing you fear most, isn't it? Love. You're afraid of it. You try and kill it in other people, but you can't stop people from loving each other. You can throw away all Brownie's letters, but you can't keep him from me because he's in me. Oh, you wouldn't understand that there's no love in you.
Had you always wanted to be an actress from when you were growing up? Was it always the ambition?
No, I don't know what I wanted to do when I was growing up. I think I was really vague on that subject until I fell into acting and discovered that I liked it. Who knows, maybe if I fell into something else, I would have loved that and never done acting. I mean, I wasn't like, you hear so many stories of, you know, I was 3 years old and I was tap dancing and singing and I just knew I was going to be on the big screen. Not like that at all.
Well, I'd say one of the most difficult things about The Delinquents for you was in the early stage of the film, you're playing a 15-year-old and you're 21, and there is quite a big difference there. You're there in your gym slip and...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's quite difficult getting the aging right. I mean, I can't look at the film objectively anyway, so I can't really judge how I did it. But, I mean, I hope I got the kind of her development right. And I was just thinking what I was like at 15. You know.
What were you like at 15?
I was pretty horrible.
Why?
I guess when I was like 16. I mean, most teenagers are pretty rebellious at that age. It's like, I'm an adult, you can't tell me what to do. Great fights with your parents.
Don't make a mess of your life, Lola. Forget him. Men are all the same.
You're the one to give advice about men. Goodbye, Mum. I'll write so that you know I'm all right. Lola.
What are your plans for movies and TV in the future?
I plan to do another movie next year. I don't have anything solid, so I can't tell you any gossip or details, I'm afraid. But I would like to do a comedy next. Something light-hearted.
Yeah, that'd be a nice change, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I believe your sister's now gone into soaps in Australia as well. But
Yeah, she's doing Home and Away. She's doing really well, and she's recorded some great songs. So, yes, everyone will be hearing about Danny soon.
Danny Minogue? Is the name?
Danny.
Just Danny, yeah? So do you think she'll be...
She's clever, because Minogue, it's autographs, it's a really dumb thing. I should have just I should have knocked the second name off, I think. Kylie, nice and quick. Yeah.
Minogue's a very Irish name. Do you know if it is, if you're excuse me, Arab-Irish ancestry?
I guess I am. For so long, I mean, I'm so stupid. I keep saying, I'm going to trace the family tree, and I never do, but I'm sure Minogue is an Irish name, so probably got some rallies over there.
I heard Jason Donovan on TV talking about what Australians call the tall poppy syndrome, where people who are successful in Australia and abroad are put down almost because of their success. Have you been a victim of this tall poppy syndrome?
Yeah. England has, it's quite similar in England. I think America is one of the few places that doesn't have that. I mean, they look up to success and they encourage it, which is wonderful. I mean, that's great. But I think, I mean, when I was getting a lot of backlash in Australia, I was still in Neighbours, so I mean, I stopped doing all publicity. I just did nothing, but I can't stop, you know, people running TV interviews or putting a picture on the cover of a magazine, or you have no control over that. You know, kind of kids think that you have some control, but you don't. It's like they have the pictures, they can do what they want with them. So, I mean, I really did nothing. And I guess what I should have done, or what was expected of me, was to kind of just slide into oblivion and never be seen again, because, okay, I'd had my time at the top, but I couldn't because I was contracted in Neighbours, which actually worked for me because I hung in there, and I ended up coming out on top again, because people, they love you, and then they hate you, but then they feel sorry for you because you're a battler, and Aussies love a battler, so then they like you again. I mean, you know, it's a whole cycle, it's a process. So, I mean, you know, now people are being really nice to me, but I'm not going to get used to that, because 6 months down the track, it could be completely different.
Tonight's freeze frame will be repeated on RTE1 tomorrow week at 12:30 p.m. In next week's programme, Michael Dwyer talks to Ron Howard, former actor and now the film director behind Splash, Cocoon and Parenthood.